January 13, 2024 was a day of international protest for Palestine in solidarity with Gaza. Middle East Eye reported it was a global day of action aimed to intensify international pressure for a permanent ceasefire and dismantle Israeli apartheid. Worldwide protest for Palestine continues, where a March for Gaza on Washington marked another historic event. The March for Gaza in Washington, D.C., United States, started off with Palestinians giving a descriptive recount of the horrors inflicted upon their family and countless others. One Palestinian man spoke of the genocide of his family by the Israeli occupation. Over 104 of his family members were killed by Israel's belligerent attacks.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam. I'm a pharmacist, I'm an American and a Palestinian from Gaza. I never thought my family would live through an experience of a genocide until my Palestinian people whom I love, they were all killed in one day. The most troubling aspect of Israel's mass killing of my Palestinian family is when they bombed the first house and my family member and friends came to assist in actually digging out the people who were killed and the remains of those who still under the rubble. Israel bombed them again and again until they killed over 104 of my family members. Dozens of my family member bodies are still under the rubble.
Another Palestinian American told of the loss of over 100 of his family members, where more than 60 were children.
Peace be upon you all. I'm praying for the peace for the whole entire world. My name is Ala Hussein Ali. I'm a physician from Michigan. My roots and my childhood were in Gaza. I have lost over 100 members of my family in this genocide. More than 60 children, half of them under the rubble. I'm going to share one of the stories that happened in November. My brother Muhammad and his pregnant wife Ruba and their 3 children, who are small angels, 5, 3, and 1, with my Ruba family lived with them in a Rimal area in Gaza. The bombing and the airstrikes were all over around them. So they decided to evacuate to the south with the promise from the Israeli government that it will be safe. Before they left, as you know, the Israeli government stopped the food, water, medicine, electricity, internet, phone calls, everything was stopped. The trip from the north to the south is the most dangerous trip that anybody can experience. My brother went out looking for water for this dangerous trip. And the hours go by. He never came back. He was killed by an Israeli sniper. He was shot several times in his chest. And he was found 5 days later in one of the hospitals in Gaza. My sister-in-law, newly wedded, still mourning, decided to remain in her home. She said, I'm not gonna leave to the south anymore. Life doesn't have any meaning. Her family, her father was begging her to go with him to the south. She said no. Her father took the rest of the family, 17 members, and they went in a big truck to the south. But the Israeli government decided otherwise. They're not gonna let them reach the south. Just before there, they airstrike them, and the whole 17 were killed. They were in pieces. They were collected flesh by flesh and limb by limb. Ruba lost her entire family. Lost my brother, who was her beloved husband, her family. She has been displaced since then 7 times, from house to house. Displaced 7 times from house to house, from a tent to a tent, homeless, alone, with 3 children, pregnant in her 6th month of pregnancy, in need of an emergency C-section at birth, and no hospitals there, no anesthesia. She will face the death at the time of labor. I was planning to return to Gaza this winter with my family to see my brother Mohammed. I haven't seen him for 20 years. And he was murdered, killed with a cold-blooded soldier. And the worst is I paid for that bullet that killed my brother with my money taxes dollar that I pay every year.
Several prominent individuals from various backgrounds shared the stage in speaking up for Palestine, such as Medea Benjamin of the grassroots human rights organization Code Pink, President of Yaqeen Institute Dr. Omar Suleiman from Dallas, Texas,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Behind me, you have over 200 martyrs that are represented by their families. 200 martyrs whose stories were never told in the mainstream media. Posters that you have not seen on the light poles here in Washington, D.C., or in New York, or in Chicago, or in Dallas. And all of us represent now over 36,000 people that have either been martyred or that are under the rubble. And I want you to appreciate that in this country, this isn't our first protest. We have taken to the streets in the name of one victim of state violence for months at a time. If we were to take to the streets for every single casualty and every single person that is under the rubble for the last 3 months, it would take us 100 years to honor each and every single one of those victims. And if we were to collectively take to the streets for the rest of our lives, for just one of the people on these posters, for just one Wa'al al-Dahduh, it would be worth it. They ask us where our Nelson Mandelas are. We say that our Mandela is suing you criminals at The Hague right now for genocide. We say that our Mandelas are the children that have resisted over 7 decades of occupation standing in front of Israeli tanks. We say that our Mandelas are the Wa'al al-Dahdouhs and the Mu'tazis of the world who continue to hold up cameras to your genocide unintimidated. We say that our Mandelas are the Rachel Corries of the world. are the allies of Palestine that, despite all of the Israeli propaganda over these years, have never relented in standing by our side and saying that we will not go home until every Palestinian can go home. Dear brothers and sisters, I wonder what Desmond Tutu, who went to Palestine and recognized apartheid and said this is even worse than what we experienced in South Africa, and who particularly bemoans watching ambulances blocked by checkpoints and apartheid walls. I wonder what he would say watching this genocidal government bomb hospitals and ambulances today. I want to capture not just the cruelty of the moment. I want to capture the insanity of the moment. How low is the threshold? How low the barometer that calling for a ceasefire is too much for some politicians and media commentators and people who claim to be for human rights with the backdrop of 10,000 murdered children. How low is the threshold of morality? And so we say that if with the backdrop of genocide, you have still not found it in your moral conscience to call for a ceasefire, you are heartless. And we say that if with the backdrop of the occupation and apartheid that enabled the genocide in the first place, you still have not called for the end of the decades-long atrocities against our people, you are shameless. And if you have failed to see our humanity, we have not failed to see your hypocrisy. And you've made it clear that shipping lanes in Yemen are more important to you than our lives. And you've made it clear that you want our votes without hearing our voices. But we're going to make you hear our voice today on behalf of all of these families and all of the martyrs and all of those that are still standing strong. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., we charge you with genocide.
Independent candidate for president, Dr. Cornel West. Dr. Jill Stein, who announced her running for the U.S. presidency under the Green Party. A pre-recorded message from Rabbi Yisrael David Weiss, Indiana's Congressman Andre Carson. Joining remotely, journalist from Gaza, Bilal Khalid.
شكرا لكم على تضامنكم، شكرا لكم على وقوفكم بجانبنا، شكرا لكم على مقاطعتكم، وشكرا لكم على تظاهراتكم، شكرا لكم على نشاطكم على السوشيال ميديا، لأن كل هذا يعتبر هو نوع من أنواع المقاومة التي تحتاجها فلسطين وتحتاجها غزة من أجل نصرة هذه القضية ومن أجل إنهاء هذه المجازر. نتمنى السلام لشعبنا ونتمنى لكم الخير دائما، وإن شاء الله نراكم عما قريب.
Al Jazeera correspondent Wailel Dadou.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أولا وقبل كل شيء أود أن أنقل لكم باسمي وباسم أسرتي وباسم أسرة الصحفيين وباسم الشعب الفلسطيني هنا في قطاع غزة تحياتنا واحترامنا وتقديرنا لكل ما تفعلونه. بالتأكيد غزة هذه الأيام تمر في مرحلة عصيبة جدا، تاريخية جدا، استثنائية جدا لم تمر بها في تاريخها، ولذلك الناس هنا يدفعون أثمانا باهظة جدا ويعيشون حياة كارثية. لمن لا يعرف، لا يجد الناس الأكل أو الطعام والشراب، المسكن من الخيام، الحمام، وما تتطلبه الحياة ليست الكريمة، وإنما الحياة التي تضمن لهم الاستمرارية حتى مهما كانت الظروف لا يجدون ذلك إلا لماما أو كفافا، ومن خلال ظروف غاية في الكارثية، غاية في الصعوبة. صحيح أن قطاع غزة يدفع الآن ثمنا باهظا، ومن بين من يدفع الصحفيين الفلسطينيين. الصحفيون الفلسطينيون في قطاع غزة يتعرضون إلى مذبحة إن صح التعبير، إلى مقتل إن صح التعبير. 112 صحفيا ومصورا حتى الآن استشهدوا في هجمات إسرائيلية متفرقة خلال 3 أشهر، وهذه أرقام صعبة لم تسقط في أعتى الحروب، حتى تلك التي استمرت 20 عاما وهي الحرب الفيتنامية. لم تسقط هذه الأرقام، ولذلك نحن كصحفيين ندفع أثمانا باهظة جدا في طريقنا وفي سبيل هذه الرسالة الإنسانية النبيلة التي كفلتها كل القوانين والمواثيق الدولية. ولكن يبدو أن الاحتلال الإسرائيلي لا يروق له أن نقوم بواجبنا على أكمل وجه وبالشكل المهني الذي ترتضيه المواثيق، مواثيق الشرف للعمل الصحفي والمهني. مع الأسف هذا هو واقعنا. فقدنا الأسرة، وفقدنا الولد، وفقدنا الصديق، وفقدنا المكتب، وفقدنا المنزل، وفقدنا المأوى، ونعيش مشردين ونعمل من خلال كل هذه الأوجاع وكل هذه الآلام وكل هذه الأثمان. ومع ذلك ما زلنا مستمرون. أؤكد لكم أننا سوف نستمر في حمل هذه الرسالة وفي أداء هذا الواجب. كما تشاهدون شهيد آخر يسقط في هجمات إسرائيلية جديدة ومستمرة على قطاع غزة. نحن الصحفيين سوف نستمر في حمل هذه الرسالة. ما يقوينا هو الله سبحانه وتعالى الذي يمدنا بالصبر وبرباطة الجأش وبالقوة وبالقدرة على المواصلة. ما يواسينا ويسلينا أنتم في مظاهراتكم، في اعتصاماتكم، في كلامكم، في تفاعلكم على مواقع السوشيال ميديا. أنتم كلمة سر، لا تستهينوا بأي جهد تقومون به من أجل نصرة الحق ونصرة القضية الفلسطينية، نصرة المظلومين. فنحن إخوانكم على الأقل في الإنسانية، وهذه غاية نبيلة وسامية لا يعمل من أجلها إلا الكرماء. وبالتالي لا تستهينوا بجهودكم التي تقومون بها. أود أن أشكركم وأقول لكم بأننا نقدر ما تقومون به. شكرا جزيلا لكم على كل ما تقومون، ونسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن تنتهي هذه الحرب المجنونة، وأن نراكم في ظروف أفضل من هذه الظروف إن شاء الله. تحياتي لكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Executive Director of AMP, American Muslims for Palestine, Dr. Osama Abu Rashid, gave a powerful speech.
Good evening, heroes. Yes, you are heroes. The vanguard of justice, the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the oppressed, the voice of the Gazan people. Yes, you are. Be proud of yourself. We are proud of who we are. We are proud of what we stand for. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not a one activity for Palestine. What we do here is not the end of it. It didn't start today. It's not going to end tomorrow. We have to continue this work. We are ushering a new era in America. An era for a free Palestine. Not only to end genocide. Genocide will come to an end with our collective voices, with us collectively demanding it, enforcing it. We're not gonna forget, we're not gonna forgive. We will not. Those who are being tried now before the ICJ, whether they're condemned or not, we condemn them for genocide. Those apologists of them, those who are defending them, those who are providing them with the diplomatic immunity, we know that you are as implicated as Israel. We know that when this administration calls the charge against genocide Israel meritless, is that they are meritless. They should be ashamed of themselves. Shame on them. Continue to fight for Palestine. Leave tonight home more committed that this is a movement. I am an integral part of it. It's not gonna work without me. It is a collective responsibility, but it is also a personal responsibility. We are going to reconstruct this hope. We are going to realize it. We are going to ensure Palestine will be free. We were going to ensure that America will be free. We were going to ensure that no more cheating, no more deception, no more politician promising us equality, freedom, justice for all, when they are the most morally bankrupt people who continue to lie and think that they can get away with it. We will make sure that we don't forget and we don't what? Forgive. We don't, right? Palestine will be free. Gaza will be victorious. We are not running away. The Gaza people are standing tall on their land. They are not fleeing. They are not leaving their homeland. They will come back to the same houses that Israel destroyed. They will be rebuilt. Palestine will continue to be on the map. We will dismantle this apartheid state. We will dismantle this genocide state. Only justice will bring all to live in peace. Muslim, Christian, Jews, all people will live in peace.
Also present was Palestinian American singer and songwriter Anis, and many more who joined the stage. Imam Sami Zaharna from Muslim Family Center in Maryland recited Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening, with the crowd as a collective prayer for Palestine.
God Almighty has mercy upon them. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Those present at the march shared why they felt the need to come out for Gaza.
I'm here today just to show my support for Palestine. Living here near DC, I think it's really important to show up and show out for these big protests and just, show that we have a presence here, especially as Muslims living in the US. I think it's really important about that.
Why are you here today?
I'm here to protest, of course, the genocide of the Palestinian people and basically spread more awareness for the cause. When you're coming out here and you're dressed up with the Palestinian signs, clothing, it helps spread the issue more, and it also helps in remembering and keep remembering. They want us to forget, but this shows, it's been 3 months, we're still protesting, we're still out here, and we're not gonna just sit back at home and forget, and we're gonna keep coming out here until we see change, until we see a ceasefire or a defunding. It's also a double standard. It's, you see, the Ukraine war versus the Palestinian war. over here, the governments, institutions, all of them look at the Ukrainian war as a very honorable thing to support the Ukrainians, or where you support Palestinians, it's all of a sudden wrong.
Where are you from?
I'm from Pakistan.
The PDM coalition government have been promoting normalizing ties with Israel. So how do you feel about Pakistan taking
I don't agree with that at all. I'll be clear and honest about that.
The PDM government, we have seen, have taken steps to normalize ties with the meetings of the Rothschilds and with the Pakistani trip delegation with Sharaka to Israel, the first time ever. Now, with the banning of Palestinian protests in Pakistan under the caretaker government, how do you feel about coup after the coup has happened?
I can't.
Pakistan is taking a turn towards
The worst. Yeah. I can't believe it. Like I would not want that to happen at all. I'm completely against that. Whoever normalizes that is normalizing violence, genocide, license to kill for everybody. That's gonna be terrible. That's just straight terrible, horrific act. So
Pakistan in the future.
to break the shackles of international debt, so that they can stand on their own.
You sound like a non. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tell me, why are you here today?
I mean, I think I'm here for the same reason as everyone else, end the genocide, end the siege, free Palestine, so it's backwards. That's it.
What do you think will be the outcome of the International Court of Justice that South Africa had won?
Honestly, I mean, what I hope to be the outcome might not be the actual outcome. Inshallah, justice for every single martyr, for every single Palestinian across the world, not just in Gaza, not just in the West Bank, across the world. We should all be liberated. Everyone should be free. So inshallah, Israel will face the consequences of what they've done. Abolish the settler state.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Why are you here today?
We are here just to protesting for peace and ceasefire in Gaza. Innocent people, kids, even pregnant women get killed every single day. Every single day. The time we're talking now, they are being killing. We need to stop that killing. We are providing them with bombs and support. That needs to be stopped. We need justice. We need fairness.
The crowd also showed their support for Yemen and South Africa for their historic international role in taking action for an end to genocide.
Drop the bombs on Yemen now! Drop the bombs on Yemen now! Hands off Yemen! 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 Yemen, Yemen, make us proud! Yemen, Yemen, make us proud! Turn this invasion around! Turn this invasion around!
The peaceful march started at the Freedom Plaza, the historic grounds where Martin Luther King gave his iconic "I Had a Dream" speech, and moved towards the White House. In support for Palestine, the people kept their spirits high and their demand for ceasefire resolute. The March for Gaza even had an appearance from Spider-Man. A man was seen wearing the Spider-Man costume and a kufiya, the traditional headdress, while waving flags of Palestine, South Africa, and Yemen. A conservative estimate of 400,000 individuals were present, showing their solidarity with Palestine, their demand for an end to the genocide, and an end to the Israeli occupation and apartheid. Several of those who have attended this historic event have shared their photos and videos. A shout out of a thank you to everyone for your participation.
Now, ceasefire now. Occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Oh ho. The occupation has got to go. Hey, hey. Oh ho. The occupation has got to go. Hey.